Hi guys, welcome to Throzone.com. This is Mohit Soni, and right in front of you we have for you two brand new compact SUVs in the Indian market that have been launched over the last 6 months. That is the Mahindra XUV 300 and that's the Hyundai Venue. Both of them have created quite a stir in the compact SUV segment, and let's not waste time and get into the details by telling you the fact that the reason why we've aligned both these cars in this particular position is because we want to show you how big the Mahindra XUV 300 is. It's got a bigger wheelbase, bigger wheels, and while the dimensions are the same for both cars, they are sub 4 meter cars. The XUV 300 has more width and it feels longer because of the long wheelbase, and it feels more substantial and it's slightly taller as well. The Hyundai Venue is not behind. The only thing is it lacks the little width and the presence that the XUV 300 has. But what works in terms of presence for the Hyundai Venue is the fact that this car here, the particular design in rear design is quite attractive, quite futuristic. Overall, we think it's got a very futuristic front and rear design. The side profile is a very typical Hyundai. It looks like a baby Creta. That's what everybody's calling it, and that's very, very right. The front, it gets the new SUV design language that is pretty much mandated by law right now, that you have to keep your headlights lower. So that is what it gets. It's also giving it a futuristic look, a different look for SUVs in the market throughout the world. Is going to be followed very soon. Hyundai Venue is among the top 3 after the Tata Harrier and MG Hector to get that feature, while the Mahindra continues to get a typical design in terms of everything in the front. Small grille, large bumper, humongous headlights and LED DRLs that run here. And yeah, like I said, the XUV 300 has more presence, while the Venue, which looks compact, is a bit more futuristic in its design. The design elements are better. The alloy wheels on the XUV 300 are 17-inch wheels, which look really good, but these Venue wheels are inspired by the Kona, and they also look really good. So 9 out of 10 for the alloy wheels on the XUV 300, 10 on 10 for the Hyundai Venue. And now let's not waste time and jump into the interior part, where there is a lot of things to talk about. So let's discuss the legroom in the XUV 300. While it is good enough for what it is, it's got good amount of legroom on offer. That is my seat height adjusted. I am 5'10", and there's good amount of legroom, good amount of knee room. Headroom is also good enough. It is slightly more than adequate, which is lending it that premiumness that Mahindra is targeting. There's a lot of width over here as well, over the Venue, which I will show you in some time. But that is the interior of the car, and let me jump in the front and show you what's it got on offer. You've seen our reviews in the diesel and in the petrol that we've reviewed, but I'll give you a short introduction here. And yeah, that's the cabin. Nice chunky doors. The car feels very solidly built. Yeah, that's how the car starts. That's the screen most Mahindra guys will be familiar with. That's how it starts dramatically. The quality of the interior is good. The plastics are good enough, but the Venue has a little bit slightly better interior, where it gets stitching of cloth and leather over here, while the XUV 300 gets this piano black finish on all 4 doors. The screen works really well. It got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all the connectivity features you would need. It's got navigation. The AC controls here is the talk of the town. This panel is very, very old. It's almost a decade old, but I can live with it. I don't know everybody else can or cannot. Space to keep stuff here, here and here, here as well. That's the massive glove box on offer. These dials change color. And in terms of features, the XUV 300 gets front parking sensors, electric IRVM, heated mirrors here, front parking sensors. These dials changes colors. And over the Venue, while both these cars get projector headlamps, LED DRLs, and Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and all of that, cruise control as well. But this car gets 7 airbags instead of 6 airbags, front parking sensors, dials that change color. You get heated ORVMs, which is a great addition while driving in the monsoons. So you get visibility all the time. I live with a car which has heated ORVMs, and let me tell you that they are a big plus in our rainy situations. Like I showed you, this is the space, this is the interior. The quality is good on the Mahindra, but it could have been a little bit more better. Now let's jump into the Venue's interior and let me tell you that what it has. The Mahindra also has a sunroof on offer. So guys, this is the interior of the Hyundai Venue, and as you can see, this is me sitting behind my driving position, which the seat slightly taken back a couple of inches extra, and there's good amount of leg room. Knee room is also adequate. The best part is it's got more under thigh support than the XUV 300, and it's got decent amount of leg room and knee room, which makes this the slightly more comfortable car here, surprisingly. Because despite the fact that the Mahindra has more space on the inside, it's got a bigger wheelbase. Headroom here also is generous enough, as much as the Mahindra, and but not strictly, let's say, but the interior is best suited to 4 people. Even the base here is quite small. It's best suited for kids, and it's not your typical 5-seater. The Mahindra XUV is definitely a 5-seater, but in the Mahindra, the AC vents are not there at the back, and the AC at the front is also slightly weak in first blower setting. So the AC here in first blower setting also works really well with the Hyundai Venue, and the AC cooling is definitely going to be better with the Venue. With a little bit of effort in the XUV 300, you can get the same cooling, no problems whatsoever. But let me also show you the fact that the Hyundai Venue here also gets a larger boot over the XUV 300. That's quite carnivorous for a sub 4 meter car here. Let me show you the XUV 300 now. Yeah, that is the boot space. It's just about okay. And with the XUV 300, let's get into the front of the Hyundai Venue, and let me tell you that it gets keyless entry and go, just like the Mahindra. Start stop button, just like the Mahindra. And let's start up the car. That's how it starts the car. Yeah, that's how it starts the car. It gets manually adjusted IRVMs. That is the Blue Link system. In terms of features, steering mounted controls, cruise control, fuel economy parameters, along with some voice modes that you can use, which is now a sensation thanks to a new launch. And yeah, the quality is good around here. You can keep your keys here. This is the wireless charging pad that you don't get in the Mahindra XUV 300. That's the air purifier that you get. Both these cars have very small amount of space under the center armrest here, but the center armrest on the Hyundai Venue is adjustable, while the XUV 300 does not. And in terms of features, like I said, the XUV 300 is slightly better, but all of that Hyundai wants to trump with its Blue Link, where it offers telematics with remotely starting the car, knowing where the car is, GPS and tire pressure monitoring system, along with an SOS button, which if you press, if you're in a crash, they will call you and send you the needed help. And 8 lakhs, both these cars get traction control, but this car does not get front parking sensors or dials that change, or heated ORVMs, or a 7th airbag for the knee, which is available in the XUV 300. And like I said, the interior is slightly better in the Hyundai Venue, despite the fact it's pretty much all black, while the highlight of the Mahindra XUV interior is the fact that it is much more airier. And on this gloomy day, the XUV 300 is definitely the car to be in. And both these cars get sunroof. This is the turbo petrol that we're driving, and we've already driven the diesel along with the DCT. So let's jump into the performance part, and I think the problem is solved here by seeing the fact that both these cars are equally matched in many ways. And let it be the space and the feature list and everything. They are Hyundai has countered the XUV 300 with a wireless charging and telemechanics in the form of BlueLink. And now let's jump into the performance part of both these cars. So as promised, let's jump into the performance part and let's talk about petrol motors. People are buying SUVs with petrol motors, so let's discuss that. We all thought the XUV 300 would be the benchmark in its class when it comes to engines, both petrol and diesel. But Hyundai Venue has gone a step ahead and offered 118 bhp and 172 Newton meters of torque. While the XUV 300 gets 109 bhp, which is a 9 bhp less than the Venue, but it continues to have more torque, to almost 28 Newton meters more torque than the than the Hyundai Venue. But the real highlight here is the fact that the Hyundai Venue just weighs 195 kgs, while the XUV 300 weighs almost entirely 1300 kgs. So there's almost a 200 kg of difference, and the performance speaks for itself. The Venue is faster, quicker, offers 14 kilometers to the liter, and can do almost 170-180 kilometers an hour, while the XUV 300 is bogged down and delivers 12 kilometers to the liter and does not come with a DCT or any sort of automatic, while the Hyundai Venue gets a very fabulous DCT gearbox with a manual and 6-speed manual as well. So in the petrol part, Hyundai Venue definitely wins with the 1 liter turbo. The 1.2 naturally aspirated, we don't recommend that to anybody until unless you drive only on the weekends and let's say you are roaming around town only. Even if you plan to have one weekend trip throughout the year, we would definitely recommend you to get the turbo petrol motor, which is far more better in every single aspect. Let's talk about diesel, where Mahindra scores yet again. And as seen on paper, the Mahindra XUV 300 outshines the Hyundai Venue when it comes to diesel though. The diesel XUV 300 makes 115 bhp of power and 300 Newton meters of torque, while the Venue only makes 90 bhp of power and 220 Newton meters of torque. It's got a 200 kg weight advantage again, but it's still got more power to weight ratio and more torque to weight ratio. So performance in terms of being quick and fast, the Mahindra XUV is ahead. Both are similar in terms of refinement and fuel economy. You can expect 15 to 16 kilometers per liter in both these cars while driving in city. Both come with 6-speed manual gearboxes with smooth gearbox and light clutches. And but the Mahindra XUV 300 has recently launched the diesel AMT, which we've reviewed for you, while the Hyundai Venue does not come with a diesel automatic. It will come in March or April, which is quite a lot of time away. So when it comes to diesel, the XUV 300 is the pick of the lot, and like I said earlier, the Hyundai Venue has much better petrol engine, which is the 1 liter turbo motor. Yeah, so if you want the Venue for petrol, just for the petrol, you should go for it, and if you want diesel, you should definitely consider the Mahindra XUV 300. So let's discuss about the Venue in terms of ride handling and road behavior. It comes with 16-inch wheels. It's 200 kgs lighter than the Mahindra XUV 300, so it's quite agile and nimble in the city, and in the corners also it's good enough. It's got body roll, but the most important part is the fact that the Hyundai Venue steering is far more better than any other Hyundai we've tested in quite some time. The feedback is definitely getting better. It's got good grip on offer. The brakes are really good. But the XUV 300 here on paper does not sound very impressive, but the very sporty suspension on the XUV 300, 17-inch wheels and all 4 wheel disc brakes, and the higher curb weight is extremely well masked because of the suspension setup and the 17-inch alloy wheels. It feels very agile and nimble at the same time, and it feels much more confident around bends and on straight highways than the Venue, because of its suspension setup and the way things are tuned. All 4 disc brakes means braking power is much more immediate and far more better. in panic braking situation. But the Hyundai Venue also does its job really well, so there's nothing to complain about. It's just that the XUV 300 is over engineered and it feels far more better in terms of driving and providing confidence to the driver. So these cars, we've discussed in length what these cars are all about. They're evenly matched in terms of design, they're evenly matched in terms of performance, they're evenly matched in one way or the other when it comes to the interiors and the features list, and when it comes to performance and handling, they're quite close to each other. And that's a great win for Mahindra, and that's also a big improvement for Hyundai. These cars have gone ahead and worked on the criticism and the feedback time and again, and they've made their cars much more better, and both these cars are very impressive. Now let's come to the value and the money part, where you will pay a bit more, let's say almost 1.5 lakh rupees more for the diesel and the petrol versions over the Hyundai Venue, when it comes to top end variants over the Hyundai Venue when you pay for the XUV 300. But you still are getting value. That doesn't mean that when the Hyundai Venue is cheaper, that doesn't mean that it's more value. You are getting your money's worth in the XUV 300. You are getting pretty much everything what the Hyundai Venue has to offer. But the Hyundai Venue has a bit of trump card. That's the blue link that is on offer. Whether it's going to be useful on an everyday basis over the XUV 300's features, that's a very subjective decision. But then coming to the real verdict, we think both cars offer more value, and you cannot go wrong with these cars. But then I have somebody with me who also has a different opinion, could have a different opinion on these cars. He is our co-founder and colleague, Mr. Tahir. Mr. Tahir, so tell us about these cars.
Hello guys, and talking about both the cars, we drove this car to a large extent. And regarding Mahindra, I could say that it is a very much value for money, and Mahindra has done a great job bundling every feature into it, and it is a welcome move. Talking about this car will feel way more premium than that car, and that's why we see a point that we will see this car lots and lots on the roads, and we definitely see a point to buy this car.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tahir, for your move. And that is not just one verdict, but two verdicts for two different cars, because we deemed that was the most appropriate way to end this comparison. It's a very hot comparison, and these are two important cars in the industry right now. The subcompact segment is brewing, so we've given you two verdicts. I think that should be more than enough for you guys. You guys have always been commenting on you always wanting more. That's a human thing, and we've tried to deliver that. So thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel. Still more questions, please ask us in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.